What's up? What's happening? How's it going? How you guys doing? I'm in a really echoey room, and I turned off the echo cancellation, and I turned on stereo audio in StreamYard, so it might not sound that great. I'm just not sure. I am using my Shure M88. Fantastic stereo microphone. The reason I'm doing that is because just in case I can walk out to the hall and stuff. I don't think I'm gonna have time today to actually show you guys the rig. That was kind of my hope, that I would be able to play through the rig a little bit and kind of show you the sounds. Although we could walk out there right now probably and see what's going on. I can show you the setup where I am today. Let's just start with that. Well, it's quiet. It seems to be quiet. Haven't actually been to the stage yet. I'm in Orlando at the Walt Disney Center, I think it's called. Walt Disney Theater for the Performing Arts. I actually have no idea which way the stage is, but I'm going to assume it's probably this way. How are you guys doing this week? What's going on? Last week I was on the bus walking around. This week I'm in a venue. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Oh. The door. Now, I'm not sure if the net's going to cut out. If it does, I'm going to walk back. Let's see if it gets sketchy. Yeah, it's already getting sketchy. God, this is always so hard, isn't it? Or maybe there's a repeater and it just picked up. I think it did. Okay. Oh, it is a nice place. I haven't been in here yet today. Nice venue today. Nice theater. So Orlando, Florida, Walt Disney. What's this place called, Scott? The Center for Performing, Walt Disney Center for.
You're right on so many levels there.
That's my buddy Scott over there. He's awesome. He's from Canada.
You're right. It's the Disney Theater.
Disney Theater.
Orlando.
Anyway, downtown Orlando. Nice place. I can at least show you the rig. Looks nice, actually, right now.
It sounds great here, too.
Does it? I bet it does. Oh, it's nice and tight up here today, too.
It's very tight.
Like we're set forward. What I mean by that is we're not too far back, which is nice. So there's the stuff. There's my nice Taylor. Love that thing. 417 Builder's Edition. 2 PT100s. Fog machine works. Yeah, that's right. What else? What else can I show you? Somebody asked me what's in the rack. Just my Shure Accent wireless. There's a Matrix power amp in there right now that actually belongs to Steve Stevens. He let me borrow it so kindly over a year ago, and I still have it, and I'm not using it on this tour, but I did use it in the summer. There's the board. If I can do this without dropping my computer. There's the board. No, thanks, man. I'm good. Thank you. Quad cortex, etc., etc. So, that's the stuff. It is on. Anybody care if I play right now? A little bit? Or is it?
Can you wait like 5 minutes?
Yeah. I'll hang out here for. Yeah, do that. Or I'll just sit over here or something for a few minutes since this is working fine. And maybe I can plug it in for a few minutes and just give you an idea of the way the rig sounds in front, because I've got the echo cancellation in StreamYard turned off, and I got stereo audio. So in theory, I should be able to set up this little mic I got here and aim it at the rig or somewhere off, and you guys can get a sense of like what it sounds like. It would be my hope. So. Love the look of the PT100s, just real classic. I'm sure the 15 is great, but the 100s just look badass. Yeah, I mean, and there's something about the sound of a 100 too that is just undeniably. I mean, the 15s are fantastic, and I could very well be using them on this tour and be just fine, and it would sound terrific. You know, I've used them in stereo and it's more than enough volume. I don't have these amps opened up super far or anything like that. But there's just something about the, you know, EL34, even when you're dialed back, like the headroom and there's just something about it that sounds really cool. That is, you know, kind of undeniable. Just trying to set something in YouTube right now, guys. So just be one sec. Why is it giving me trouble? And then we'll get to some questions and good stuff like that. 2 seconds here while I change something. There we go. And there we go. Okay. So who we got in the house today? Mike Armand is here. Ibarge, good to see you. We got Mike, we got Lori, we got Ben, we got El's Got Music. What's up, Lauren? Big room, big amp, big tone. Yeah, there's something to do with the like hundreds of just like that headroom thing, especially in the clean channel, you know? It's just a thing. JJ's here. What's up, JJ? Says, hey, Pete. What do I think about the Valbrook pedals? I've tried some really good ones. I mean, he's the one that makes that, what's it called, the Kahuna or something? He's got it like a tube. I believe it's a tube preamp, right? If that's the one that you're referring to. And I really quite liked it. I can see on the edge of the keyboard riser here. Laptop down, kind of works perfect. Let's put the venue in the background. There we go. Awesome. Most of the usual suspects is Ben. How you doing, Ben? What's going on? You doing your show tonight? Ben's usually got a show Sunday evenings, so I'm sure he's doing it tonight. Unless you're not, Ben, let us know. T-Top, what's up? Hope the tour is rocking. Yeah, we've had fun. The last show especially was really fun. It was a great crowd in North Carolina. We were in Wilmington. I think I was just in Wilmington on the Five for Fighting tour in the summer as well. It's like so quick, you know, 3 months go by, you're like, was I here or was I in? I know we were in Raleigh, but I think we were in Wilmington too. I could just look back at the schedule and know. Jen's here. What's up, Jen? How you doing? How was your guitar situations this morning? Jen's got her new every Sunday. She's got like a new sort of tips and tricks thing that she's doing. I'm sorry, Jen. I'm spacing on what you call it right now. Maybe you can say in the chat. But I think you're on at least the 4th or 5th one now, right? Maybe more. How many covers do you play on this tour? Love seeing you play Richie Sambora solo, is what you said. Yeah, so we do a lot of covers, actually. The whole idea of the tour is it's music that Nick Carter heard before he started doing the Backstreet Boys, which was when he was 12 years old. So he grew up quick, because like by 12 years old he was doing that, and then all of a sudden it was like worldwide fame and stardom and stuff like that. But so it's all about what kind of turned him on to music originally. And so we do an eclectic mix of like 80s rock, new wave, you know, everything from Simple Minds to Corey Hart from Canada, Don Henley, Bon Jovi, you know, it's like a mix of stuff. The Cure, all kinds of songs in the set that are really fun to play. So it's music that he was inspired by when he was a little kid. And so it's a lot of covers. And then, of course, a lot of hits, too, that he's had over the years. Hope this will cover a coffee. Hey, thanks. Some of your favorite effect combos, like putting effects together. When I first read that, the first thing that came to mind is one of the coolest effects I ever heard was a Phase 90 with the Leslie effect coming out of the Rocktron Replifex. So any Leslie, really, that's kind of set to a fast rotary kind of thing. And then with the slow sweep of the Phase 90 is what I'm trying to say. So the fast Leslie combined with this slow phaser sweep, so that's a really fun one to try if you haven't. I love the black hole reverb with the nice delay too, and especially running them in parallel. I'll show you in a second. I think I can do it. I'll hook up the rig for a minute to show you a couple of my really affected sounds that I'm doing with the rig with stuff in parallel. And yeah, so I can show you a few of my favorite combos actually. But you know, it's kind of a lot of the standard stuff too, I guess. Some pitch with delay. You know, I've got an EVH preset that's pretty cool. That's the full-on pitch shifter and then some echo. Mr. Pellegrini says, thanks for all your insight. You're inspirational. Thanks, man. Hey, thank you. You guys inspire me. It's keeping me grounded, always doing this show. I love doing this, and I look forward to it every week. Guitar stuff. That's what you're calling it. Guitar stuff. That's right, Jen. That's awesome. Check out Jen's new episode. But not right now. Go after we're done here. I can only hang for an hour because then it's kind of a tight schedule today. This theater has a dark stage, so everybody out there know what a dark stage is, or maybe some don't. Dark stage is when there's a union mandated time during the day when the crew is not working, the local crew in a theater, and that means that you can have no sound. So during that time, nobody on stage, no sound. So from 3:30 to 4, we have a sound check. It's a little more regimented today because of the dark stage. 3:30 to 4 sound check, and then dark stage from 4 till 5, and then we will do a kind of VIP sound check from 5 till 6 today, which is where Nick's fans will come in, and we'll have usually, it could be 50 or it could be 200. Are you singing? You're singing Big Bottom? Deeper the quicksand, that's what I said. I think my favorite Spinal Tap lyric is actually Hellhole. Yeah, you know where you stand in a hellhole. Folks lend a hand in a hellhole. I like that. It's sort of a dark song, and then in the last verse, it's like you've hit rock bottom, and it's like you've got nowhere to go but up. Folks lend you a hand. It's good. I'm a glass half full kind of guy, as you guys know. So, yeah. Your hair got light brown again. Yeah, that's true. Well, it's got a lot of light on it right now. It's bright as hell up here, so it probably looks darker in certain light, but at least it's not super gray. Yeah, pretty much this is my the natural, and I'm waiting for that gray to happen any minute. So here it comes, I bet. Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'll get lucky. What else we got here? Stephen Douglas, what's up? My man, what's happening? I'm super fired up on caffeine, I just realized. I had a triple shot oat milk latte. And then Jake, our drummer, who's fantastic, he makes this cold brew in his room, and he grinds the beans and does the whole 9 yards, does it overnight, and everything you got to do to make cold brew. And I've downed half of one of those too. So I'm like, but it's good. It's good. That's what we do on the show. We talk about coffee, and we get fired up. Tonight I'm gonna rock you. Yeah, tonight I'm gonna rock you tonight. Okay, so we see if the rig works. Let me check it out and see if it works. Scott's not here anymore, and he said 5 minutes. I think that was 5 minutes. I'm just gonna kind of put this microphone here. Put this here. Can you see me? Oh, yeah. It's a perfectly quiet room. Now I'm going to turn the audio on the mic way down so that I don't overload it with the amps. Let's see if this actually works. Somebody might come in and yell at me. Somebody might come in and yell at me to stop doing what I'm about to do as well. So let's see if that happens. I'm willing to get in trouble for you guys. Okay. Yeah, I'll play for a sec, see what happens. So, signature guitar. No idea if it's anywhere close to being in tune or not. Let's see. No picks. I got all this stuff, but no pick. Hold on a sec. Okay. Wireless working. There's that. Some semblance of tuning. sure if you can hear my talking voice because I have the mic turned way down, but that's a sound with a little stereo delay. Here's a sound with some pitch. Right? That kind of thing. So now let me check some comments and see if that is actually working, if you guys can hear me. Turn the mic back up. So how's that sound? Does it sound terrible for some reason, or with the smoke machine? Sounds killer, says Leah. Okay, that's good. All right, good. Let me find a couple sounds then, if this is working. And I'll just quickly show you some of the more super stereo stuff, because that's probably the most interesting thing for me to show you. One sec. So we do some Tears for Fears. Right, and I've got the that's the wrong part. That's right, Jeff. All that's business, you know. Let me angle the screen a little bit again. I'll show you the sound that I use for Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me, with tons of delay. Let's see. I've got a micro pitch as well as a dotted eighth echo. I guess it's dotted eighth. Is that what I got going on? I got two different delay times. I think it's a quarter and a dotted eighth, actually. Kind of the Andy Timmons thing, but in parallel. And super stereo. If I turn off the effects, I just hit the delay. Right? Just the micro pitch. So the mixer that I have on my board allows me to blend in the effects in parallel with the dry signal. Hope you can hear what I'm saying. Just saying the mixer on the board allows me to blend in the effects with the dry signal. So I'll turn off the dry so you can just hear the effects actually in parallel. One sec here. So now there's nothing, no dry signal. Here's just the delay. Here's just the micro pitch. Delay and micro pitch together. And delay and dry and micro pitch. That's no dry now. And that's all three. So the fun thing is that I find you can just pile on the delay and the effects, and you just get like this super dimensional sound with like all this effect, but it's still clear. I don't know if that comes across right now or not, but it sure sounds like it to me when I'm standing here. Like you can have the delay mix so loud, but the punch is still there. This is probably the most affected sound that I use on the show with this kind of thing going. So anyways, I'll go back over here and we can talk about it a little bit now, because that's probably gives you a little bit of an idea. Sit down, I'll see what you guys say, because I don't want to play too much if it's not coming through clearly, or if it's uninteresting or something. Ryan says sounding great. So yeah, so do you get a good idea of what that sounds like? I'm just curious, you know, our own personalized sound check. Yeah, I didn't actually think I'd be able to do this today, but it's really cool. It makes for a unique one, so I'm glad. Sometimes this stuff happens where it's a little off the cuff. So what do I mean by when I say dry? Is a question from Firewolf. I'm fully willing to work here and walk back over here and show you exactly what I'm talking about, so I can be clear about it. Because how often do you get to see this kind of in action, right? So what do I mean when I say dry? Well, I have a couple of pedals in the effects loop of my amp. A stereo delay, the EVH SD 3000, and also a Eventide H90. I can those effects are mixed in with the dry signal via a mixer. So the dry signal, usually when you run through an effect, you go into, especially if it's a digital effect, you'll go in, you'll hit an analog to digital converter, and then everything's mixed internally within the pedal or the rack effect or whatever it is, right? The way that I'm doing it is that dry signal, there's always a constant dry signal that's running through the amplifier that never, essentially, just think of it as like, it never hits an A to D and gets converted and all that stuff. There's a constant dry path. So that's what you hear if I do this. That's just amp, no effect. As soon as I turn this on, now I'm adding delay to the signal, but the dry is still 100% there. So the difference is it's kind of like, it's probably distorting, right? Let me turn that down and just do that again. It's just the dry. Here's the dry with the delay. And that dry never goes away. Does that make sense? The dry path is always 100% dry, not running through an effect. So I don't know how to describe it better than that. Maybe somebody else can describe it better in the comments. The net effect is there's zero latency, because you're not running into like a an effect and hitting an A to D converter and then mixing within the effect and relying on the effect to get mixed within the unit. So the punch stays there. It's exactly the same. You're just blending effect into the sound that's already there. You're not taking a sound that's already there, running it into an effect, going through an A to D, then mixing within the effect, and then going through a D to A on the other end, digital to analog converter, and it's spitting it out. And which is, you know, that's just running effects in series like most people do. I did it for years, but this is the first time I've done this parallel mixing thing. And I just find that it's more dimensional. It's just like the sound is so clear, and you can just add these effects without any kind of downside. I don't know. It's really cool. So I hope that makes sense. I hope it's apparent too in the sound that you're hearing. I think this is a super chat I missed, so I'm going to try and grab that now. Where was it? There it is. So any questions about it? Christopher says killer sound. That's great. I'm glad, because I've tried to do this a bunch of times, and this I don't feel like I've achieved at a sound check. Like there's always a problem. So if it actually sounded good and you guys can actually hear the rig, I'm so stoked on that. Even just to hear it for a second. I want to record my valve amp with speaker cab about 70 feet away in my garage and head at my workstation. Long speaker cable, yes sir. Yeah, you can run a long speaker cable as long as it's good thick gauge, like use a 13 gauge or whatever, like a good thick, speaker cable. Don't use like 18 gauge or whatever. Use the heavier stuff. You don't have to pay for it, but like get a good long, if it's 70 feet, get an 80 or 85 foot speaker cable. You can get one custom made if you want. Somebody like Pacific Audio in LA, you could custom order one, and they'll make you one. Pacific Radio, excuse me, it's called. Look up Pacific Radio Los Angeles, and you'll find they will make you one if you can't find one anywhere else, and they'll send it to you. But yeah, that's the way to do it. Keep the head by you so you can adjust the tone. That's why I do it. My speaker cable in my studio is probably 80 feet long, going from my main room out to the room where the cab is. Sounds great. Actually, it doesn't get all red pill chrome Neo's throat matrixy and audio pixelating with the echo cancellation. That's good. Yeah, well, I just managed to, I think, hook up everything kind of correctly here, except now I've got the microphone pointing away from me. One sec here, let me fix that. Using my little Shure microphone here, which seems to work really well, actually. Yeah. Okay. Micro pitch equals chorus. Let me show you, Jen, the difference between micro pitch and chorus, actually. That's a great question that we can demonstrate, because I got both sounds easily here. So some people sometimes refer to micro pitch as still chorus, because what it is it's actually just detune. So what it's doing is it's actually taking the dry signal, and then it's detuning it by, say, 5 cents, 9 cents, and then blending it back in with the dry signal. But it's not modulating it at all. So the only modulation is coming from like the pitch. It's kind of like a 12-string guitar. If you were to take the 2 strings and one, like the 2 double E strings, let's say, and one string was tuned slightly different than the other one, and how it's got just a little bit of a chorus type effect, but it's not actually modulating the pitch at all. It's just 2 different pitches happening at the same time. It's a slightly more subtle sound generally than a chorus, which has a more obvious sort of wave to it. So I'm going to show you the difference. One sec. Okay, this is micro pitch, and it's light. It's like, it's not mixed in a lot, but if I turn it off, see if you can hear the difference. Oh, let me point the microphone a little more, just towards the cabs. Okay. That's no micro pitch, it's just dry. This is micro pitch. I got it set light because I like but it doesn't sound like obvious chorusing. It's a little bigger, and this is like I played earlier. It's the sound of Eddie Van Halen on, you know. It's that sound, that kind of 80s, you know, Van Halen thing. This is chorus. So if I make the chorus real obvious by turning up the speed and the depth. That warble, that doesn't happen with micro pitch. That's the difference. Okay, back over here. Sit down for a second again. Okay. So hopefully that made sense. It's the modulation. Now, to just complicate that a little bit, in the micro pitch effect, Eventide gives you the ability to modulate like a chorus. So it's like adding chorus to the pitch. But most people usually leave that off. So you can add some speed and depth modulation to the pitch, you know. It's just, literally micro pitch is like taking a sound and pitch shifting it. If you went as far as 12 cents, it'd be, if you went, how many cents is it to get to the next pitch? I don't know, but if you went like 12 cents and then 24 cents and then 30 cents, it would just start to sound like a very out of tune guitar. So, yeah. Oh, something was clipping. Sorry about that. I think I managed to not set the microphone right for one of those. But anyways, the volume. But okay. What else we got here? Let's see. Usually Shure. Yeah, it's the MV88. Yeah, the little Shure, which is really cool. It's this little guy. Comes with this little stand, and you can actually put your phone on it. It's pretty neat. So I think I'm gonna, Jake probably wants to do some stuff with his drums, right? No, I'm gonna go in the other room, because you probably want to do some banging, right?
I could tune this with my fingertips if you want to stay there, dude.
No. I don't want to get in the way of you doing your job. So I've had a great, actually solid experience here of being able to show these guys the rig with a little bit of silence in the room, so it was perfect. Just put my amps on standby. And then we'll go back in the other room, and then these guys can make some noise. Awesome. I'm glad that worked out. Cool. So once again, it's tonight's venue. Should be fun. If the stream just drops for a second here, it's because it's going from one kind of repeater to another. So I'll go back to the dressing room area here, and then we can continue. We've got another 25 minutes, I think, that we can do this. This is interesting to do with a microphone, a computer, and a guitar on, but it's working. There we go. All right. Okay. Just gonna pull up a chair right here. Do the rest of this here. Turn off my wireless. Cool. All right. Oh, I'm glad I was finally able to do that, and it actually sounded halfway decent. What else you guys talking about? Sound is great. I'm glad it worked good and sounded good. That's awesome. Oh, there's a super chat I missed. Are your MIDI pedals in loops of the switcher, or just use MIDI CCs to turn them on? The MIDI pedals, and you say it sounds incredible. Thanks, appreciate that. It was a lot of work. The MIDI pedals, let's see. I've got the Mobius in a loop actually in front of the amplifier. It's in loop 3. And I use it in mono, and I use it for stuff like a mono chorus. I use it occasionally for filter stuff, Univibe, or if I need that, you know, things like that. The other two pedals that are MIDI, which are the H90 and the EVH SDE 3000, those are in a parallel mixer. So they're not in loops of my RJM. Sorry, it's not an RJM, it's a Musicom Lab. I used to use RJM. Musicom Lab switcher. They're not in the Musicom. They're just in a parallel mixer. So how that works is there's effect send coming out of the PT100 that hits the that hits the board and goes into, so PT100 effect loop send from my main head hits the board and goes into the parallel mixer, the parallelizer from Musicom Lab. And then there's 2 stereo loops that I'm using in it to send signal out to the H90 and to the EVH SDE 3000. And then those stereo outputs of those effects come back into the mixer and get blended in with the dry signal, go back to the amps, 2 amplifiers. So back into the returns. So hopefully that makes sense. Todd says Pete uses, somebody must have been asking about my strings, 9.5s. You know what? I started using 9s. So I now have Paradigm. This is my main Sir here. I use this guitar for probably 65% of the set at least. And this guitar has 9s on it now, and the Paradigm Ernie balls, which I'm really loving. I just decided to go down one more half gauge because I just don't want to work that hard. So, and they sound great. I'm actually really happy I did. So I'm not missing anything, and it's awesome. I am using on one guitar out here that's down tuned to C sharp. I'm using a Hetfield set, and so that's an 11 to 50, I think, for that particular guitar. But it's just on that one guitar that's drop tuned. Music Life says, I thought micro pitch was a chorus as well. Well, it's a similar sound, but as I think I demonstrated, it's a more subtle sound without as much warble. It does have a similar effect, but it doesn't. The difference is in a chorus, you've got the pitch is actually modulating. So in other words, you've got a signal that's going kind of like that, right? Where it's like going up and down in pitch, and that's getting blended in. With the micro pitch, it's not technically, unless you set it to modulate, which you can do, but almost nobody does. Eddie Van Halen didn't, or anything. It's not modulating. It's just a second. It's almost more like an effect of having 2 guitars that are tuned ever so slightly different, doubled, like playing at the same time. Does that make sense? Like, it's more like a 12-string guitar, is what it is. On a 12-string guitar, it's not like when you have 2 E strings and one's just a little flat or something off of the, you know what I mean, like the two high strings on a 12-string. Let's say like the 2, you know, the first and the first or whatever. If one's tuned slightly different, you hit them. There is a chorus-like effect, but it's not like the second string is going up and down in pitch. So that's the difference between a micro pitch and a chorus. You know, it's a more subtle effect because of the lack of modulation on the pitched signal. Where do you have the master on the amp set? So I'm using the masters on the back because of course I got the effects loops engaged, and so the masters on the back are just above 2, which isn't really very loud at all. Yeah, it's a big rig, but I got it throttled back for the stage and stuff because we're in these theaters and it's just like the people are right in front, and it's like, but there's side fills, my guitar is coming through the side fills, and then I'm also using in-ears. So it's up loud enough where my guitar feeds back when I've got gain going and stuff, and it sounds great. I can get total solo feedback going, but it's not so loud as to be, you know, it's just balanced. Like I listen to the drums. I always like to settle in around the drums. You know, and Jake's not a quiet drummer, so it's like, you know, I listen to the way he plays, I turn the amps up, and then when I stand in front, like right in front of the stage, say in the first row, you hear the guitar amp, the drums, and the bass with no PA on. It's balanced with that, basically. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What else we got here? Moving down in the chat. Moving down in the chat. Moving down in the chat. I learned something new. Hey, that's all we can hope for. If I was able to clarify the difference between micropitch and chorus, because I used to wonder, I didn't really understand, maybe back in the day, you know. So it's helpful. If I'm at another gig next week, which I don't know if I will be, but if I am, we can do this again and we can do more. That'd be cool. Yeah. Quentin James is here. Hey kids, he says, what's up? Braxall is asking what I'm using to Parallelix. It's the Musicom Lab Parallelizer, which is it's a brilliant little pedal board parallel mixer. It's one of the only ones out there. There's also the Wetter box from Gig Rig, which is really good. Sir has one called a Mini Mix that's simpler and cool and does a great thing. Yeah. 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 David asks how the Shure mic handles loud levels. You know, it works fine. You just turn the gain down in your computer, or you can do it on the phone. The M88 app, this is the mic, by the way, and then it comes with an integrated app if you're using it with a phone or an iPad or something, and the app will allow you to record with a level meter right on the screen of your phone or say an iPad, and you can actually change the level right there within the app, and you can record video into the app. So it's a great way to record video, say at a band practice or at a gig or something, and you can see the level going into your phone and just back it down. And you know, it's really cool. So it's the integrated app actually isn't just about audio, it's about video when you use it with your phone. So it's been a terrific thing. My buddy Paul from Shure, that's a Sweetwater, he hooked me up with it, and I've been using it a lot. I'm using it right now, and it's really cool. If it actually worked, and I'm gonna listen back to the stream later and see what it sounds like, because I'm curious. But it's just so useful, you know, this little microphone. So, hey. Who am I playing with tonight? I'm on the Nick Carter tour. So we're doing a tour, it's mostly theaters and halls, and he's basically playing music that inspired him when he was really young, before he started doing Backstreet Boys when he was 12. That's it. He grew up fast when he was 12. And you know, kind of rocketed to fame as a preteen, really. But you know, before that, the music that he heard around, you know, the house with his parents and stuff like that, that's kind of what this tour is all about. Stuff he was inspired by and that he loved when he was young. So we do a lot of new wave and rock and stuff from the 80s. Yeah. Yeah. There's a big old super chat there from Arthur. Hey man, appreciate that. And let me know if you want to shoot picture, you shoot Nita and Van Halen. Oh, cool. Yeah, we can talk about that. Maybe PhotoPass or something. I don't know. When do we play Pennsylvania? It's in November, right? So, not on this trip. No, we're just in Florida for the rest of this. So, yeah, I'm in Orlando right now. Okay. Well, I got about another 10 minutes, guys, and then I'm going to split and go out to check. So this has been great, though. I'm glad we'll condense it into an hour here, but hopefully it was a good one. How come you have silver and blue? Is the silver place revoiced, like you mentioned John was doing? I'm not at liberty to say. I'll leave it at that. That should tell you everything you need to know. Just trying things. We're working on things towards the upcoming, you know, PT50 that'll be coming next year. Yeah. Why is micropitch considered a time-based effect? That's a good question. I wouldn't say it's considered a time-based effect per se. It's a pitch effect. So, yeah, for instance, you know, Eventide had the mod factor, the time factor, and the pitch factor pedals. So, and it was part of the pitch factor. So, I think anybody that considers it a time-based effect, maybe that's a bit of just a miscalculation on their part. It's really a pitch-based effect. Is the TC Mimic a micro pitch? You know, I tried that pedal, and it seems to be a slightly delayed I'm not sure if it has the Mimic. I can't remember if it's actually got a pitch control on it or not. But this is a pedal that was meant to create kind of a double tracking effect that TC made, so that it sounded like, you know, very wide in stereo and two guitars. I just don't remember if it has pitch on it or not. It might. If it says so on the controls, then yeah, it would be. But as I remember it, it was just kind of almost like you could change the width of the effect, which would actually be more just like adding more delay time to the effect. So to get a wider, you know, because the more you delay a signal and then pan them, the wider it's going to seem at the expense of tightness. So there's always it's very difficult to do a fake double that sounds really legit or feels legit. It tends to start to feel weird. What I like to do, and I do this actually in my rig on my main distortion sound and stuff that I was even just using right now. Here's a little secret. I don't use micro pitch all the time. I use it sometimes because I really like it. And you know, you don't have to use it as, say, prominently as Eddie Van Halen would have. You can mix it with less of a, like, you know, minus and plus. By the way, with micro pitch, when you do it in stereo, you've got one side pitched and the other side pitched. The right and left sides are both pitched. And generally what you'll do is you'll pitch, to get the classic Eddie Van Halen sound or the classic micro pitch effect, the way that the preset pulled up in the Eventide H3000, one side was detuned minus 9 cents, and then the other side was actually uptuned plus 9. So I'm calling it a detune, but it's actually a detune plus uptune. And that's what gives you the width. So it's almost like having, imagine a 18-string guitar where each string was tripled, and if you had the middle string right in tune of the triples, and then one string a little detuned, and then another string uptuned. Does that make sense? So I hope that makes sense. But what was the original question? So I can't remember. I got off on a tangent. Oh, I was going to tell you about this preset that I do to get a kind of a widening effect. I'll sometimes add a delay to the signal, a 35 millisecond delay on one side and a 45 millisecond delay on the other side with no repeats. So that means you'll get one repeat. If you set the feedback to 0, so it's a very, very short 35 millisecond delay on one side, 45 on the other side, no repeats, blended in about 15% or maybe 20, tops, maybe less, depending on your delay and your rig. And you'll just hear the sound go like in your in-ears and just get wider without losing tightness and stuff. If you start to blend it in too much, it starts to sound fake, but if you just use it at a low level, it tends to work really well as a bit of a widening. This is a great trick for in-ears to get a bigger sound, not such a pinpointed mono sound. Does your mix guy place you in the middle so effects are... I think he does, yeah. He puts me pretty much in the middle and everything, you know, hard panned, and so the effects are all bouncing around in the PA. Do they sometimes pan instruments or vocals in the PA for separation? For sure, if you've got two guitar players. I mean, he's doing snapshots, so per song, you know, there is another guitar player that's playing sometimes too. The MD, he plays keys and guitar. So when he's playing guitar, he may have us panned. I'm not sure, to be honest. Nick plays guitar on a few songs too. I'm not sure what he does on those particular songs, but per song, he could choose to do different things, you know, because that's I guess just like us with our guitar rigs these days, they got complicated. It's like mixers, you can do complicated things. Per song, you can store snapshots of mixes that'll pull up different panning arrangements and stuff like that, you know, that are appropriate to the song. So, any interesting surprises when learning the set? Many! Like a song you didn't appreciate. Well, I've never played the Simple Minds song before that I was playing earlier, and it's really cool. It's just all textural, and when you get the sound right with all that delay and everything, it's bouncing around in your in-ears. I mean, it doesn't even probably come across on YouTube. The way that it sounds in my mix sounds crazy, you know, it sounds really fun. So that's fun. Yeah. Okay. I want you to plug into your rig and jam some more. Thanks. Maybe next time. I was lucky to have that much time. When you're on tour, it's like, I find that rare, that I can actually get into a venue and do what I just did for as long as I did, because somebody else will always come out. I mean, Jake came out because he's got to put heads on drums, so he's like tuning his snares and, you know, like putting heads on and tuning, and then I can't make noise like that because it's like having another musician that needs to do stuff there and work. So that was a nice 15-minute kind of happy accident that you can't always get, you know. So yeah, but I'm really happy that happened. Actually, I was didn't think I'd get to do that. It was cool. Jen says we're almost 300 people watching, only 130 likes. Thanks, Jen. Hit that thumbs up. Appreciate that. Jen was just on the East Coast doing some touring as well. She was in, I think, a lot of the places that or at least sort of generally in the vicinity that I've been. I think you were in North Carolina and stuff, right? So, and now you're jet lagged back in Germany. There you go. Alrighty. Well, I got 2 minutes, guys, and then I got to split. Got to get out there on stage, go to work. Eventide harmonizers also offer time offset. That's true. I didn't want to complicate the issue with the... You can actually delay the pitch signal if you want to. What are you plugged into that gives you the micro pitch sound? It's the Eventide H90. So, yeah. Plus 10 and minus 10 was a common vocal thing in the 80s. Yeah, on micro pitch. Yeah, for sure. And also snare drums, I think. You can use it to widen the drum. You know, different. I mean, they use it on a lot. Anything you want to make wider in the mix. Matter of fact, I have an Eventide H3000 plug-in in my template in Logic that just comes up when I start a new song. And if I want to widen something slightly, I can just pull up the send to it, and it just gets a little bigger, you know, without being obviously pitched or anything like that. It's a good thing to have, you know. It's why you saw them in every studio, you know, I mean, you still do. I mean, there's still, you see an H3000 back there set on micro pitch like all the time. People use them on vocals, people use them in anything you want to be a little bigger in a mix, so. Yeah. Ben says, thanks for taking the time for all us awesome people. I'm going to change it. I fixed it for you. You're a good man. Break a leg. Thanks, man. Yeah, looking forward to playing tonight. Then we have a couple days off, actually. Is a phaser time-based? Yeah. A phaser takes a signal and then it modulates it and it puts it in and out of phase. So instead of varying the pitch, it actually varies the phase, I do believe, is what it's doing. Oh, there's another super chat. I'm going to grab that and then I got to split. Got to get on stage and do a little jamming. Jen, I'm going to grab that here, but Jen says, do you play with in-ears? Yes, I do. How much do you adjust effects due to the size and shape of venues? I don't really adjust the effects at all, but I will adjust my guitar level for the room. Kind of sometimes have the monitor guy then, if I got to reduce it because we're in a really tiny room sometimes or something, or comparatively tiny, then I'll have the monitor guy compensate by watching the meters on his desk and bringing my guitar back up to right where it was, if that makes sense, you know, in the preamp gains of the console. Be right there. And Peter, hey man, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate you using a loop switcher. Yes, I would imagine H90 isn't always in your signal path. No, so it's in the. If you go back, Peter, it'll probably make more sense if you watch from the beginning. But it's in the parallel mixer. So I've got a parallel mixer on my board. That's where the H90 is. So it's not actually in my loop switcher. There's ways to do it in the loop switcher, but it's not the way that I'm doing it. Everything that's in stereo and parallel and all that isn't in the loop switcher. It's in a parallel mixer getting mixed in like that. Okay, guys, I got to go do my job. 1 minute away from being late for work. So this was awesome. I'm sorry it's a short one today, but at least it was kind of interesting, I think. So it was a different kind of show. And please join me next week. I don't know where I'll be, but I'll take a look at that, and then I'll be somewhere, and I'll do this again with you next week. Awesome, you guys. Thanks for all your awesome questions and the super chats and everything. Appreciate you all. Have a terrific week. Over and out.